I first met Skye when we did the table read, and then when we rehearsed a little bit in New York before we came down here to Atlanta to shoot. And she's delightful. She's got a miraculous voice, and she's just very open and very receptive to whatever it is that you give her on set, you know, in terms of the acting. She sort of brings it right back to you. So I had a ball with her the other day as we were shooting that scene, and it's a small but an important scene, because in that scene we're encompassing and showing just how close the two of them were, just how much her mother loved her and was desperate to get her back, and how much Aretha craved and was fed emotionally by the love and affection that she got from her mother. And also you see that Aretha's talent came not just from her father's side of the family, but from her mother's side of the family too, that Aretha was destined to be what she was because the music was just flowing from both sides. Jennifer was, I mean, I think just born to play this role. I mean, and we all know that she was handpicked by Aretha. This is who Aretha wanted to play her. And Jennifer is perfect for the role. It's interesting, I was watching the documentary Amazing Grace, where Aretha recorded that album in that church in Los Angeles all those many years ago. And I was struck by how much Aretha and Jennifer favor each other when their face is in resting position, and they're not, I don't think that they're not sort of aware that anybody is looking at them in those very quiet moments where Aretha is just sort of thinking between songs. I've seen that in Jennifer as well, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's almost as if, in my mind, I mean, maybe this is too fantastical to say, but that they're sort of reconvening with God in a way, because both of them have voices that just basically God just reached down and touched their throats, and you can tell when both of them sing, they are in touch with something that is bigger than all of us. I don't remember a time in my life where there was no Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin was always being played in my household. If you're, I mean, I don't want to speak for all African Americans, but I can name very few that are my age, anyway, that weren't raised with Aretha Franklin playing in their house as they were growing up. Whether or not you believed in God or not, whether or not you went to church or not, whether or not she was singing about God or singing about respect or singing about whatever, when she sang, there was something that was so fundamentally authentic and connected to the human spirit, you were moved. And it also didn't matter who you were, you know? And I think that's why she transcended and rose to the top in the way that she did. That even if you didn't like gospel music, wasn't someone who was into black people singing or whatever, you still could not deny that you were being touched by something when she sang. I think it's a joy and a dream come true. I've always wanted to work with Liesl. I think she's incredibly talented, and how exciting to be able to work with her on this particular project, an African American woman directing a project about one of the most famous African American women that ever lived. I think that's incredible. And because she comes from theater, I feel very comfortable with her. She believes in rehearsal, a lot of rehearsal, which is wonderful and a rarity and a bonus when you're working on film. A lot of times you don't get to rehearse and you discover it in front of the camera and you do many, many takes, but Liesl lets us do a lot of the work beforehand in another room weeks, months before in rehearsal, so that when we get to being in front of the camera, in some ways we're a little, I don't know, I just felt a little more settled. And so for someone who comes from a theater background, we like the rehearsal. Rehearsal's the best part. So, and she's just so calm and so precise with her direction.